Hey guys, welcome back to Base MMA. In this video, I'm going to be discussing the main event for UFC 292 that takes place next Saturday. Aljamain Sterling versus Sean O'Malley. This is a matchup that we've been talking about ever since Sean O'Malley was able to get the split decision over Peter Yan. It's a very interesting matchup. I know that I feel like everybody has pretty much the same take when it comes to this fight. It's a grappler versus striker kind of matchup. We have Aljamain Sterling that has 23 wins, 3 losses on his record. Sean O'Malley has 16 wins and 1 loss on his record, and also a 1-0 contest. Both these guys are coming off a win. Aljamain Sterling fought recently against Henry Cejudo and was able to get a split decision. Sean O'Malley is also coming from a split decision against Peter Yan at UFC 280, both from the United States. Aljamain Sterling is 5'7", Sean O'Malley is 5'11", but I don't know if I believe that he's 5'11". I feel like he's like 5'9", but he might be 5'11". Both 135 pounds. Sean O'Malley has a 72-inch reach advantage, and Aljamain Sterling has a 71-inch reach advantage, guys. But anyway, as we can see, Sean O'Malley is a taller fighter. He does have 11 knockouts on his record. Aljamain Sterling, most of his fights, obviously when he does win, are by submission or a decision, but mostly a decision. And yeah, let's get into it. Let's get into this matchup, Aljamain Sterling versus Sean O'Malley, guys. And man, this one's a tough one for me. And I know I say this a lot, but this one's a tough one for me because in the last couple of fights that Aljamain Sterling has been, I picked against him. I picked against him against Henry Cejudo. I was pretty confident Henry Cejudo was going to be able to do more on the feet, but honestly, I didn't. I did talk about the size advantage being a problem for Henry Cejudo, but I thought he was going to do a better job closing the distance, but he was having a really hard time landing clean on Aljamain Sterling because of Aljamain Sterling's funky movement plus his height. I think that gave Henry Cejudo a lot of problems. And like I said, like Aljamain Sterling is just very good with those little details in the clinch, and he's able to, stuff a takedown and then start his own grappling exchange and take a guy down. So he does a very good job of doing these little details that is just enough for him to win the round. And I just think the experience, man, I just think Aljamain Sterling has all the experience right now. I mean, he beat Peter Yan in that rematch. I don't really count the first fight because he was clearly losing that fight before Peter Yan threw the knee. He beat TJ Dillashaw, which also kind of has an asterisk on it because TJ Dillashaw had one arm, but still, like, obviously that's not Aljamain Sterling's fault that TJ Dillashaw decided to fight with one arm. So we still got to give the guy props for that. And then obviously he's coming off his win against Henry Cejudo that was very close, but on rewatch, guys, I did go back and rewatch Aljamain Sterling versus Henry Cejudo, and I do believe that Aljamain Sterling edged out the 3 rounds. He won the first, in my opinion. He won the fourth and the third, I think. I gave the second and the 5th round to Henry Cejudo, but it was a close fight. It was not the most entertaining fight. It was a very tactical fight. But that's the kind of fights Aljamain Sterling is in. I think the guy's very tactical. He doesn't do anything like crazy. He just does enough to win. And if he takes you down, it's incredibly hard to get up. The guy's very physical, very strong, incredible grappling. He could submit you. So this guy's very dangerous on the ground. But with all that being said about Aljamain Sterling, I really do believe that Sean O'Malley is being underestimated here heavily, guys. I know a lot of people are picking Aljamain Sterling, and I think that's fair. Incredible point. You know what I'm saying? And I can't keep picking against Aljamain Sterling because I feel like I'm picking against him and he's going to keep winning. So I can't keep picking against him. I have to give the guy his respect. He knows how to win. Like Henry Cejudo said in his breakdown, the guy's just a hell of a competitor. He might not put the most entertaining fights for the fans. He might not be the most entertaining on the mic, but the guy knows how to win, you know what I'm saying? And we have to give credit for his wins in the bantamweight division because this guy has an incredible resume. I mean, wins over Peter Yan, win over TJ Dillashaw, a win over Henry Cejudo. Those are incredible wins in your legacy. And I believe that if he gets this done, I mean, how can you deny Aljamain Sterling being the bantamweight GOAT? But now let's move on to Sean O'Malley. Now, Sean O'Malley is kind of a guy right now. It's kind of a fighter that's kind of hated right now. I feel like mostly everybody hates Sean O'Malley, where I feel like, I don't even think Sean O'Malley is that controversial. He's kind of, I guess because of his look, people think that he's just like a guy that talks a lot of trash, but the guy's just very confident. He's actually kind of socially awkward. Like, he doesn't really talk that much trash in the press conferences unless you say something, but you know what I'm saying? I don't understand the hate for Sean O'Malley, in my opinion. I thought his win I predicted his win against Peter Yan. I predicted, if you guys go back, it's one of my earliest videos on this channel. I posted a video why I thought Sean O'Malley was gonna be like, he was good enough to beat Peter Yan, and I predicted a 29-28 decision. I didn't predict a split decision. And obviously when I first watched the fight, I was pretty biased, right? Because I wanted Sean O'Malley to win. I wanted my prediction to be right. So I kind of said, no, I felt like Sean O'Malley did enough. But I also went back to rewatch that fight, and I think it was a very close fight. I think on rewatch, I'd probably give the decision to Peter Yan, but I don't think it's a robbery. I think Sean O'Malley improved. I thought he looked a lot better than we expected. He's incredibly dangerous on the feet, guys, and that's one thing. Like, Peter Yan is one of the best strikers in the bantamweight division, and he had to take Sean O'Malley down. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not a typical game plan from Peter Yan. I mean, he was able to stand with Corey Sandhagen, but with Sean O'Malley, he was like, no, I gotta take this guy down. You know, he didn't really like what Sean O'Malley had on the feet. So I do believe that Sean O'Malley is probably the best striker in the bantamweight division. I think he's incredibly dangerous. His right hand is super powerful. This guy's a sniper. He's very, very creative with his strikes. You know what I'm saying? He has good fight IQ. He has incredible toughness too, because he showed he had a good chin against Peter Yan when he got rocked. So the guy's tough. The guy hasn't been that active lately, so that might be a good thing, right? Because Sean O'Malley might be practicing his grappling, might be improving his grappling. He's been thinking about this matchup. He knew that whether Aljamain Sterling or Henry Cejudo won, he was going to fight the winner. And he knew that they were going to have a grappling-heavy game plan against him. So I think Sean O'Malley is going to be aware of that. I think he's going to be preparing for the grappling. I think his BJJ is a little bit underrated. I think people think that they could just take Sean O'Malley. I don't think that's necessarily going to be the case. I don't really see like an Aljamain Sterling first round victory. I really think this fight is going to go into the later rounds. But with all that being said, I think that the reason this fight is interesting as well is because Aljamain Sterling just fought in May. We know the guy is not 100%. He had, I believe, a bicep injury. So who knows how he's coming into this fight. I mean, the UFC did make him turn around kind of fast because they're kind of, I mean, it's not a mystery. It feels like the UFC is trying to give Sean O'Malley an advantage to really go out there and dethrone Aljamain Sterling by making this fight very close, not giving Aljamain Sterling enough time to recover from his last fight injuries. So, you know, that might work against Aljamain Sterling here, but it could also might work against Sean O'Malley because momentum is a real thing. And if Aljamain Sterling feels very confident over what he did to Henry Cejudo, he's going to be very confident to Sean O'Malley. He's going to go from fight camp to fight camp, but who knows? He might be a little bit overtrained coming into this fight. I do believe that Aljamain Sterling's best win is that submission, that first round submission over Corey Sandhagen, because all his other fights have been pretty close except the TJ Dillashaw. But like we said, TJ Dillashaw was coming into that fight injured. So what is my prediction in this fight? How do I see this fight playing out, if I'm being honest? I think this fight's going to be boring. I think this fight's going to be boring unless Sean O'Malley is able to do something on the feet and is able to knock him out. And that might happen early, but I do believe that Sean O'Malley has power in every single round. I mean, we saw how he hurt Peter Yan with that knee. He caught him with the knee in the third round. So I don't think Sean O'Malley is one of those guys where like, oh, he's only dangerous in the first round and then you're safe. No, I think Sean O'Malley is going to be dangerous, but it all depends on the pace of the fight. It all depends, because if Aljamain Sterling just takes him down and maybe he's not able to submit Sean O'Malley, but is landing ground and pound shots, you know, transitioning, stalling positions, getting him tired, being on top of him, I could see Sean O'Malley just getting gassing and not being able to have the power nor like the striking to really put Aljamain Sterling in danger. So it's going to be very important for Sean O'Malley to stuff the takedowns at the beginning, because if he starts getting, you know, pretty much a Corey Sandhagen versus Rafa, if he's just getting taken down round by round by round by round, he's not going to have enough momentum on the feet to really make something happen against Aljamain Sterling. But another thing, obviously Sean O'Malley, great striker, can knock out Aljamain Sterling. Of course, that's a very high possibility. That could absolutely happen. But I just think that because of the threat of the takedown and because of Aljamain's physicality, I think Sean O'Malley is just going to be a lot more hesitant on the feet. I just think that because he's going to be scared of getting taken down, he's just going to be a little bit more cautious on the feet, and that's going to help Aljamain Sterling being able to close the distance and get like, you know, get close to his body, get a body lock, throw him down, hold him against the clinch. And I think the path for Sean O'Malley really is to stay in the middle of the cage. Don't let this guy get you into the bag. I think if Sean O'Malley is moving backwards, I just think he's going to get taken down. I really do believe he's going to get taken down. and it's going to be very hard for Sean O'Malley to get back up. So I feel like once Sean O'Malley gets taken down, he's most likely going to spend the whole round trying to get up. And like we said, like Aljamain Sterling is very good at banking these rounds with the little details. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't really go to war, and I wouldn't even say he puts dominance over guys. You know what I'm saying? His fight with Henry Cejudo was very, very competitive. He wasn't really dominating. I mean, Henry Cejudo is a hell of an opponent, an incredible wrestler. So, you know, just that matchup alone. But also, I think another thing that people are not mentioning with this prediction, I mean, some people are, but I think Sean O'Malley, the fact that he's 5'11", I think is going to help him. I really think so, because Aljamain Sterling, I mean, at least to me, he seems a lot bigger than the guys he's been fighting. I mean, he's taller than Peter Yan. I believe he is taller than Peter Yan. He was taller than Henry Cejudo, and that really gave him an advantage, because one thing that I noticed when I went to go back to watch Henry Cejudo versus Aljamain Sterling, was that Aljamain Sterling, like when he exits out of exchanges, he moves in circles, and there was times where Henry Cejudo was able to capitalize in the way Aljamain Sterling would exit, like he would make a mistake, but since Henry Cejudo has such a short reach, he wasn't able to hit him completely clean. And I feel like if Sean O'Malley is able to time something when Aljamain Sterling is with his funky style, moving backwards and moving in circles, Sean O'Malley has the reach and the height to really catch him with a head kick, to catch him with a right hand, to switch to southpaw and catch him with a left hand. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like Sean O'Malley has an advantage that maybe that he's going to be able to capitalize on mistakes that Aljamain Sterling made that Henry Cejudo was not able to capitalize due to his size. Because, you know, I really did underestimate in that last fight of Aljamain Sterling versus Henry Cejudo the size difference, and Henry Cejudo did look smaller in there. He looked like he was faster than Aljamain, but just because Aljamain's funky style, he wasn't able to really hit him clean. But somebody like Sean O'Malley, who's incredibly fast, who obviously is a very tall guy for the bantamweight division, I think you catch Aljamain Sterling, you know what I'm saying? And I really do think that if Sean O'Malley catches him, it's going to be in an exit that Aljamain does, and he makes a mistake. Because if he makes a mistake against Sean O'Malley on the feet, it could be over, you know what I'm saying? But the thing that this fight is kind of hard to predict as well, because I even think like if Sean O'Malley hurts him on the feet, I mean, he has to knock him out clean, like clean, you know what I'm saying? Like a Gaethje Poirier type of knockout, because if Sean O'Malley stuns Aljamain Sterling, I could see Aljamain Sterling still trying to grapple, still like maybe holding on to his feet and trying to make something happen from there, you know what I'm saying? So Aljamain Sterling just has a lot of advantages coming into this fight. I mean, the grappler versus striker matchup, usually the grappler gets it done. And I just think Aljamain Sterling has a lot of momentum going. He might be a little bit overtrained, but I still think his experience is going to be enough, guys. And like I said, like I just can't keep picking against Aljamain Sterling. Like, I feel like I'm cursed. So I have to pick Aljamain Sterling to win this fight. I think he's going to get a submission, but I don't think it's going to be as early as people were saying. I think it might be a round 3 submission where he takes down O'Malley. O'Malley's a little more gassed, and he's able to lock a submission. But like I said, Aljamain Sterling has never fought someone as dangerous in the striking and as tall as Sean O'Malley. So that's something to consider. Like I said, I think Sean O'Malley has underrated grappling in BJJ. I think he has a lot of power in his hands, but I just think that Sean O'Malley, like, yes, I get it, he faced Peter Yan, but before that, he had a no contest with Pedro Munoz. He TKO Raulun Paiva, which is an okay win. He beat Almeida as well. Then he went, I believe he TKO'd Chris Moutinho in the 3rd round. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, the competition hasn't been the same compared to Aljamain Sterling, who's fought guys like Corey Sandhagen, Peter Yan twice, TJ Dillashaw, Henry Cejudo. Like, his resume is just incredible. Like, Aljamain Sterling has been fighting these top guys, and I just don't think Sean O'Malley is just ready for this matchup, and I just think it's not a good matchup for O'Malley. There's a reason why he wanted Henry Cejudo to win, because I think with Henry Cejudo is really small, and Sean O'Malley knows he could get something happen. And then just the way also that Aljamain Sterling grapples is just very like physical, in your face, a lot of pressure, very fast, and Henry Cejudo does like to stand there and kind of strike with you and then try to get a takedown, you know what I'm saying? But Aljo is just very persistent with those takedowns, so I just think that Aljamain Sterling is going to get it done for this fight, guys. And like I said, I just can't keep picking. We cannot keep picking against Aljamain Sterling. Look, I want Sean O'Malley to win. If I am wrong with this prediction, I'm going to be happy, because then that means Sean O'Malley's champ. So for me, it's kind of a win-win. Because if Sean O'Malley wins, then that's good. because that's at least more entertaining than Aljamain Sterling. If Aljamain Sterling wins it, then I got my pick right. So, you know, you can't lose. That's how you got to do these predictions, guys, because MMA is absolutely unpredictable. But anyway, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed the breakdown for UFC 292's main event. Aljamain Sterling versus Sean O'Malley. Let me know down in the comments below who you think has the advantage in this fight and who you think is going to win this fight. I think a lot of us are in the same boat where, like, logically we know that Aljamain Sterling probably is going to win this fight, but obviously, like, I do kind of feel that Sean O'Malley can make something happen, and I don't think the odds should be as favorable to Aljamain Sterling as they have been, because if we really look at Aljamain Sterling's win, even though they're over really good guys, there's a lot of things that happen in those fights, you know what I'm saying? So that's something to consider when breaking down this matchup, guys. But anyway, I know I hadn't made a video in a while, guys, but please make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.